Hi, my name is Vince Mims. I'm the nationwide owner and co-founder of FamilySAFE Storm Shelters and Safe Rooms. Allow me to take a minute to tell you the FamilySAFE story and what makes us the absolute best in the business. In 1998, I was an engineer at a major airline company here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Had a gentleman move from Minnesota down into our shop, and he approached me one day. He thought I was a sharp guy, and he asked me, "What do you guys do for severe weather protection down here?" I looked at him and I said, "Well, we dig a hole into the backyard and we run out to it." He looked at me and he said, "So you guys run out into the same weather you're trying to get away from, huh?" I kind of didn't even want to answer that, but I had to tell him, yes, that's what we do. And he goes, well, not me. I don't want to do that with my family. He goes, "But I am building a new house. My slab was already down, roof was already on." So we had to find something to work for him, and he asked me if I would begin this search with him. We couldn't find anything at the time. In 1998, regardless of what anybody tells you, there were no above ground steel shelters at that time. But the Tulsa Emergency Management Agency told us we should look at Texas Tech University because at that time they had already been doing research in tornadoes for 13 years. So we teamed up with them, and they told me we've tested all kinds of stuff. We've tested wood, we've tested block, we've tested carbon, we've tested all kinds of stuff, and they came to steel. And I told them, "Oh, stop right there, steel. Tell me about the steel." And they said, "Well, technically, if you build something out of thick enough steel, it's physically impossible for a tornado to penetrate." And I was like, "Well, I know structures, I know metal, being in the aviation industry and my background." So combined in 1998, Texas Tech University and FamilySAFE Shelters teamed up, and together we created the world's first above ground all steel shelter to pass the entire test at Texas Tech University. After that, we were one of the founders of the National Storm Shelter Association to make sure that we were not only looking at stuff like the penetration, but also how's it anchored, what's it anchored to. That's very, very important. How's it put together? And then we also went and we started, which we're members of today, the American Tornado Shelter Association, one of the founding members of that. So that's a little bit how we got started. It is kind of funny because if you look at revision 1 of FEMA 320, taking shelter from the storms, that wasn't even released until November of 1999. At which point we had already been up functioning, testing units at Texas Tech University and the such. So that's a little bit about how the above ground steel shelter industry got started. For many, many years, what I used to have to do is I went to home and garden shows, I went to speeches, I went to everything, and I would tell people, you can be safe above ground. You can be. And people would look at me like, "Oh, this is the village idiot." They would cover their kids' eyes and run fast out just because it was unheard of at the time to be safe above ground in an all-steel room. It's funny because there was a lady in 2003. I'm just going to say her name is Glenda. Glenda, I didn't meet the husband, but Glenda had actually come to the Oklahoma City Home and Garden Show. She had stated to us she had a mentally handicapped daughter who's deathly, deathly afraid of storms and did not know what to do to keep her calm or anything. So because the room is so easily accessible, you can walk right into it, you can take pets into it, you can even take a wheelchair into it, depending on the size of the chair and stuff. It's just so usable and so friendly and inviting compared to going out and digging a hole in the ground. They decided they were going to put one of these shelters into their garage. So little did they know, and nobody hopes this, but it did happen, May 8th, 2003, the large Oklahoma City area tornado EF5 came through second time. It was pretty crazy because the news the next day panned across the neighborhood. There was bare slab after bare slab after bare slab. Then all of a sudden there's a white metal box that said FamilySAFE right on the door. That told me right then and there that what we're building has to be the absolute best and to never compromise on anything. And here's why. So fast forward to 2004, I'm working the Home and Garden Show and I'm talking to a customer, and I hear behind me a gentleman comes into the booth, and I hear my secretary, scheduler, salesperson at the time actually said, "Hi, can I help you?" And he said it just like this. He goes, "Yeah, I'm here to talk to the owner." And I said, "Okay," gulp. So I finished. I was scared to turn around and talk. I was wondering what this gentleman's so mad about. But I finished with my customers, and I turned around and I said, "Hi, my name's Vince. How can I help you?" And I was looking at him, and his name went through me. He said, "I'm a weather tech for the U.S. military." He said, "Last year, I was actually in Desert Storm over there fighting for our country. And he goes, I was actually watching the tornado on radar while I'm on the phone with my wife, watching this storm go straight towards my family's house. And he said, you have no idea how I felt knowing that my family was inside of your room. And he said, honestly, I came to the show today only to shake the hand of the man who saved my family's life. And I did the best I could. I actually stuck my hand out and looked him right in the eye to eye, and I just said, you're welcome. And I cried. I couldn't hold it in because it was just kind of like, I don't know, it was just a lot of emotions. And at that time, he looked me in the eye and said, thank you, I owe you everything. And then he turned around and literally walked right out of the door. Our booth was right next to the door, and he walked right out. And I couldn't talk. I had to tell everyone in the booth, which I can imagine what they're seeing, because here I am, tears coming from my eyes, and I just said, I can't talk. So I walked the show, and I came back, and I told at that time my sales lady, I said, that was John. I said his last name, and she goes, oh, Glenda's husband. I knew he was coming today. And you could have told me, you could have given me some advance notice. But I will tell you what, at that exact moment in time, it occurred to me that we will never, ever do anything short of perfection on our rooms, regardless of cost. Nobody will ever approach me when I go out and inspect the rooms, and I go inspect every one of them that are hit by EF4, EF5. Nobody will ever look at me and say, it almost worked. No, FamilySAFE Shelters will save you and your family's life.